Namaste, everyone. This is going to be our gentle restorative practice for this week. And I'm going to follow up with what we were talking about yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about transitions and how we're collectively going through a major transition from one paradigm shift to another, and how many transitions we typically face in life from just normal things to everyday things to seasonal things, and how when we're going through transitions, whether it's wanted or unwanted, how there's a level of uncertainty that comes with it. And so I wanted to follow up with this because so many different people have been messaging me and catching me after class, talking about how important this message was and how they too are going through certain transitions, or someone they really love is going through a transition. And sometimes it can be, difficult to bear witness to if they're having a tough go of it. Sorry, I'm being distracted by little Ringo here. You need to go back. Come up here. Nope, up here. Stay. So I saw this quote yesterday by Deepak Chopra, and I thought it was perfect to go with this, idea of uncertainty whenever we are going through transitions, whether it's our children graduating, or we're having to switch careers, or we're losing a loved one. There's so many different variants. Make uncertainty your ally, not your enemy. All leaps forward depend on reaching into the unknown. Once you see the unknown as the source of creativity, you no longer fear it. Instead, you welcome the fact that life renews itself in unexpected ways. That's Deepak Chopra. And the final thing I'll say about this, one person called me after class yesterday and she says, "Have you ever heard the Tarzan theory?" I'm like, "No." And she was telling me that her meditation teacher was saying that, think about how Tarzan would move through the trees and he would just reach out and that next vine would just be there. It's like that leap of faith. It's just expecting, as you move into uncertainty and as you move in the unknown, that God's going to lend a hand. And I just thought that was a beautiful kind of analogy of it, even though I know this ages some of us. I laughed and told her, well, it's a good thing I don't teach 20-year-olds, because my age and older know who Tarzan is. And she didn't even think about that. Anyway, we had a good laugh about it. But we're going to do a gentle restorative practice. So have your blocks, your bolster, and we'll get going. So the first thing I want us to do is just take a comfortable seat. Nope. That's good. Stay. You can sit on a block, bolster, or a blanket. Sit with your eyes closed, hands to your lap. Take a moment to reflect on that quote. Moving into uncertainty as though it were a leap of faith. Stepping into the unknown and trusting God's hand will be there to assist. We've been given this great gift of breath from the divine. And we were mentioning yesterday how there's transition even within the breath. Transition from the inhale to the exhale. And that pause in between each breath. Now that you've been sitting and breathing, I want you to join your hands together to prayer position at your heart. Lace up your hands, reach the arms out in front of you, and then separate your hands, flexing your wrist, and extend them side to side, left to right. Now bring the arms back in front, palms facing out. Spin your right hand down, and then take your left hand to pull back the four fingers. Bring your hands back to prayer position at your heart. Lace your hands on the inhale. Exhale, extend your palms in front of you. Inhale, separate your hands, reaching the arms nice and wide, fingertips pointed upward, and then exhale, draw them back in front. Turn your left hand down and use your right hand to pull back the four fingers. Stretching the wrist, the carpal tunnel area. And release. Bring the fingertips down beside your hips. Inhale, bring the left arm up. Exhale, walk your right hand over and then curve to that side. And breathe. And affirm strength and courage fill up my body cells. I do believe it takes that strength and courage in order to walk into that realm of uncertainty. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, release the hand. Inhale, sail that left arm skyward. Exhale, walk the hand across. Seated form of Chandrasana. Affirming strength and courage fills up my body cells. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower the arm. Now we're going to take the left arm under the right for Garudasana. Mold the arms together. Bring them right up in front of the face. And then on your next out breath, descend your arms down towards the sternum. And then release. And then rehook the opposite way. Eagle arms. Upper arms parallel to the floor initially, fingertips pointed upward. And then exhale, drop the elbows deeper into the chest. And then release. Okay, now that we've warmed up the hands, the shoulders, the side body, we're gonna start to warm up the spine. So let's transition to our tabletop position. Once you're on hands and knees, check in to see if you need any extra padding and make sure you're not bowing your back like this. So pressurize the palms, the front side of your ankles, and let your belly hug in so that your back appears to be flat. Now from this position, I want you to keep that core engaged because we're going to send the left leg back behind us. And then we're going to soar the right arm in front of us. Seabird or spinal balance. Exhale, lower your right hand to the floor, but you're going to keep that left foot up and send it over to the right side of your mat. And you're going to squeeze your right side body as though you're trying to knit your shoulder and hip together and then gaze towards that foot. Now, return to tabletop. Again, plugging in the belly, re-anchoring your limbs. This way, the core is secure as you send your right leg back and your left arm ahead. Balancing on alternate limbs. Setting your gaze at one spot. Lower the left hand. Keep the right foot afloat so you can send it over to the left. Tuck the toes. Squeeze your left side body and look over in that direction. Gently return to tabletop. Now we can loosen up the low back because we're going to maneuver into cow. And then we'll transition into cat. So our focus yesterday was being mindful with the transitions, being intentional and meeting it with acceptance and grace. Today we're talking about honoring that realm of uncertainty that we face with transition. Move in sync with your breath. We'll do one more cat-cow. Now, return to a neutral back. Bring your blocks down on their lowest height, shoulder distance apart. We're going to rock the hips back to the feet. The hands are going to be placed on top of the blocks. You want the blocks shoulder distance apart, so slide them more narrow or wider, dependent upon that space. And instead of dropping the head to the floor, we're just going to keep the head in between the arms. Your thighs are together. And feel free to affirm our prayer is for all of mankind to live in harmony and in peace. All right, lift your head up, close the blocks together, and bring them closer to your body. This way, we can prop the elbows on top, press your hands together, and you'll lower your head between the arm bones again. Notice it targets a different area. Still a deep stretch. Breathe well. On your next in-breath, lift your head. Take one or two blocks and bring them in between the feet to sit on top. And then when you sit on top, again, you can be higher if your knees need more support. But we're going to place our hands in the mudra for being meditative, Dhyana mudra. So generally left hand over right for women, right hand over left for men. Close your eyes. And we're going to place the hands around the waist. And as we inhale, we lift and rock the hips forward. And as we exhale, we rock the hips back to sit on the block. All right, we're gonna do that a few rounds. Inhale, shift, lift, tuck, roll back. Exhale, lift, shift back, and sit down. Okay, couple more. Coming forward, aligning your thighs, arching back, and then sitting back down. Okay, one more. Version of camel, coming up, staying on your shins, hips aligned over the knees, open the heart, and then as you exhale, release. All right, now you're gonna drop your hands behind you. Now, if you're sitting on two blocks, that's gonna be probably unreachable. So you can have your bolster to stack your hands on, but if you have just one, it should work out okay. We're gonna stay stacked on the hands, but we're gonna tuck and lift the bum off the block. We're gonna roll the shoulders back and the head back. Feel the work in the front of your thighs. Create some space in your belly. And exhale, come back down. All right. Now, bring that other block out in front. Walk out, hands beyond the shoulders to curl the toes, and lift up to downward facing dog. Deep yogic breaths. And start to travel your feet towards your hands. Now think about the transition you want to make. Do you just want to meditationally walk the feet? Do you want to lunge, one foot taking a giant step and then the other to follow? Or do you want to hop through? Either way is fine. But that's why we need to be mindful of our transitions. We need something more gentle. We want something more challenging. Holding your Uttanasana or dangling pose. Whichever way you want to approach it is fine. And you can rock your head up and down, or side to side. And then from here, we're going to take both blocks, stand them up beside the feet so we can step the left foot way back. And when you step that left foot way back, we're going to drop the back knee, keep the back toes tucked. And then when you're ready, lifting the right arm. And now lifting the left arm. And slightly leaning back. Don't have to be overly dramatic with your back bend here. Exhale, bring the hands down. Untuck the back foot. Shift your hips back. Walk the blocks back. And flex that front foot. So since we were talking about that level of uncertainty and having that faith to move through it, I often bring in this pose to represent the leaps of faith that we often take in life. Yesterday, I used a famous quote, thanks to impermanence, anything is possible. And in this position, I bring in the affirmation, I choose to believe in infinite possibilities. I choose to believe in infinite possibilities. Thanks to impermanence, anything is possible. All right, walk the blocks forward and come to the sole of the foot. Relunge the front knee. This time the back toes are untucked. But we're going to come forward and allow the elbows to potentially rest on the blocks. If that's too much, just stack your hands. And then we'll travel the blocks ahead of us. Heel toe the right foot to the edge so that your right hand can ground. And then shift your right leg off to the right side. And you may have to walk the hands back, right? Because we were like this, right? Because we were in that half lunge. So now you want to line up left hip over the knee, hands below the shoulders. Circle that right arm skyward. Stargazer pose. Exhale, bring the right hand down and the knee down. And then we're going to shift forward onto the belly. Come down to Sphinx, where you're on your forearms. You're pushing through the arms so that you're rising up in your chest. Roll your heels slightly inward. Find the proper angle for your neck. And breathe. As we bring energy up to the heart, hopefully it can spark hope and optimism through the transitions, even in the realm of uncertainty. As you exhale, lower towards your chest, hands up underneath the shoulders. You're gonna roll up like cobra, but then curl the toes and continue back to downward facing dog. Now, we're gonna bring the feet back to the top of the mat. You remember you have choices. How do you want to transition to Uttanasana? Do you want a meditationally walk? Do you want to take a giant step with one and then the other? Or hop the feet together? Bow the head. Rocking it back and forth. And then we'll go to the other side. Grab the blocks. Step the left foot back. Oh, wait a minute. That's the same side. Right foot back. Now we're in it. Sink the back knee. Keep the back toes curled. And this time, lift your left arm up first. Then your right. And arch back. Bring the hands down. Untuck the back foot. Rock the hips back. Straighten the front leg. Half Hanumanasana or half splits. Choose to dwell within infinite possibilities because thanks to impermanence, anything is possible. Walk the foot forward, keep the back foot the same, and then see if you can lean down on the blocks. Sorry, I have landscapers outside the window. I hope you aren't hearing all that noise. So this is where we're going to transition to the stargazer pose. Now notice, right, there's this split occurring here with this back leg. So even as we move the blocks away and heel toe the left foot over, and you'll be able to see it better from this angle. and send the left leg out to the side. Do you see how this isn't aligned? And that's why we walk the hands back and then realign this leg. That's part of our base. Okay, left hand circles out none. Exhale, release the hand down. Bring the left knee to join. Rock forward and come back down to the belly. We're gonna build up to our Sphinx pose. Arms are parallel, legs are parallel, buttocks is tightening. Even the navel is slightly pulling in towards the spine. So you're retracting the belly away from the floor. And breathe. Firm, I rise joyfully to greet each and every new opportunity. Exhale, pour down towards the chest so that your hands can slide back. And lifting up to your cobra and rolling back to downward facing dog. Setting up your alignment. Reclaiming your breath. And this time, we're going to come down to the knees. Roll down to one hip and flip the legs out in front of us. It's time to move into restorative. So we're going to take the blocks and create a slide. Once you create the slide, the legs are going to come up. The head is going to come down. And then you can determine how you want to position your arms. Let's benefit from the legs being lifted. We can benefit many different ways. I'm just going to mention two. One of these being good for circulation and aiding to the heart. And the second one being calming to the mind. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, draw the knees towards you, hug them in lightly. And it's even important how we transition out of a restorative pose or shavasana. It's one reason we don't say just sit straight up. You don't want it to be a shock to your back or your nervous system or your abdominal muscles, even. So, this is why we suggest transitioning by hugging the knees, rolling to one side, and then building ourselves back up. We're going to move the bolster and use the two blocks. The blocks are going to come down, and you can experiment with this because I know sometimes we do it this way, like a T, tall, medium size. Excuse me. Today, I want us to try low and medium. And so you could probably guess it's like a restorative fish pose. So we'll try this. That first block is gonna go under your mid back between the shoulder blades. And then the head falls back. Now, if for whatever reason this is too much for your head, you can put a blanket there, or all you have to do is simply lift your head and turn it to the medium size and let the head rest because it's still going to get the throat wide open. I have my legs straight, but I do know when I lead this pose in class, sometimes I see people bend the knees. So just cater to your low back. Create any shifts or changes that will bring a state of ease into your mind and body. Once you get situated, close your eyes. in supine with your knees bent. You want your legs to be straight. We are going to turn the palms down, lift the head up, and use our upper body strength, not the back or abdominals, to come up. So there's no shock to the system. And then once you rise, we're going to create child's pose as a counter with a bolster. So instead of being together with your knees, they have to separate. Bolster comes in between. And then we'll come down and let's rest on the right cheek first. To slowly turn to the other cheek. Take residence in child's pose again. Relax your face, arms, shoulders. And the next in breath, let's slide the hands closer and push away from the prop. And our final pose is going to be setting up for corpse with the two blocks side by side, the bolster angled, and the legs draped over. And when you come into corpse pose, I want you to consider how, corpse pose was created to be a meditation on death. And death is something that a lot of people fear, or a lot of people uh, are uncertain of what's next. So we're going to embrace that realm of uncertainty as we come into this position to mimic a corpse pose. Letting the body take rest, letting the mind calm down, and allowing the breath to flow at its own natural pace. You can affirm bones, muscles, movement. I surrender now. Anxiety, elation, depression, churning thoughts. I now give over to the hands of peace. Peace, be still, and know that I am. Inhale, stretch your arms overhead. As you exhale, hug your knees in. Roll to one side of your body. Come up to take a seat. We all continue to embrace any transitions with intention, grace, and acceptance. Then we move into uncertainty, having faith that God's got us. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.